Good morning, everyone. I trust that you are all well. This morning's learning, as every morning, is dedicated in memory of all those that have yortzites today and those that are saying Kaddish. And we wish it's a schus refuah shlema for Elizabeth bat Maisha, Rivka bas Esther, as well as Abraham ben Binyamin, B'soch Shachol Yisrael. So we begin today Parshas Terumah. Terumah follows on the heels of Mishpatim, which is really also a continuation of Parshas Yisro. So up to now, we've been discussing and we've been learning about the divine revelation, Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. And now we move on from that. What's the command in this week's Parsha? By the Basha Moshe, Lemor, Vikhu li Truma, Daber b'nei Yisrael, v'amar lehem, Kuchuli Truma, V'yichuli Truma. Sorry, V'yichuli Truma, Me'ez Kolish Asher Yidvenu Libo. Truma is Tichu es Trumasi. And Hashem says that I want every member of the Jewish people to make a contribution. So if you want to know where the Kol Nidre appeal came from, it's right here. Every member of the Jewish people was expected and in fact it was demanded of them to contribute towards the communal good. And what were they going to make? They were going to make a tabernacle, a home where God's presence could rest on earth. And the idea was that this would be a place at the epicenter of Jewish life where they would be able to experience the divine presence resting in their midst. And of course, eventually that was superseded by the temple, by the Beis HaMikdash in Jerusalem. But now we're in the desert. Now we're on a journey. And the language is strange. The first point that we want to pick up on is the fact that every person is told, take for me a donation. What would we expect? If I make an appeal, if I make a pitch for a new building or whatever it is, or a new Sefer Torah, what do I say? I'd like you all to give generously, not take. Why is it that the Jewish people are commanded here to take rather than give? There's a beautiful story I want to share with you, and that is as follows. The story relates to Max and Irving. They went on a fishing trip. It was an overcast afternoon, and similar to today, there was this huge wind and storm that blew up, and all of a sudden, Max fell over the side of the boat, and he can't swim. And Irving's trying to get him, trying to help him up. And he screams to him, take my hand, take my hand. Alas, Max didn't take his hand and he drowns. So Irving goes back to Max's wife and has to break the terribly sad, tragic news of the passing and the drowning of Max. So she says, well, tell me exactly what happened. I want to know, how did this happen? You were in a boat together. He says, yeah, there was this huge storm, this huge wind came up, and all of a sudden he was over the side. And I said to him, just take my hand and I'll pull you up. And he didn't listen. And the wife gave a smile and she said, you made a mistake. When you should have said, give me your hand, not take my hand, because he's never given anything in his life. So therefore, if he knew he was going to take, then he would have listened. But to give, that's not the way of my ex-husband. And it's a wonderful, a terrible analogy, but it's a truism nonetheless. And that is that when it comes to this week's parsha, God tells the Jewish people to take. Because by giving, in fact, they are taking for themselves. Sometimes we are the net gainers when we give, right? It's interesting. Sometimes the more you give, you do an act of chesed, of kindness, hospitality, whatever it is. You're altruistic. You're trying to help people. Although you help the person, very often we come away from that experience enriched. We come away from that experience with a tremendous sense of fulfillment. Good morning, Clarice, Peter, Caroline, Estelle, and all those that are still joining us. So therefore, that is what the Torah is telling us, that in fact, in life, It's all about giving. And when you do give, you're not actually losing. The sense in English is that when I give, I've given something up of myself. In reality, you've actually gained. And that's why in Hebrew, the longest palindrome in Hebrew is the word v'natnu, which means and they gave. It can be read forwards and backwards because when a person gives, it goes that way, but at the same time, it comes back. You can be read both ways because both are gaining from the experience of that chesed, that kindness, that charity, whatever it is that you're engaged with, that generosity of spirit. And therefore, we learn an incredible lesson from the first appeal that was made in our history, and that is that when we are asked to contribute, when we are asked to give of our time, of our resources, to give financially as well, it's not really that we are going to lose. We are giving. Really, we are gaining far more than we are losing, because our lives are changed. You think about the moments that have had the greatest impact on you, and when you have felt the most uplifted, inspired, fulfilled, that is when we have been sharing and giving with other people. So this is an important lesson for us to take on board in terms of community and in terms of our avodas hakodesh, the way that we live our lives. Okay, let's go on and we'll recite firstly Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May your goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. Memorial prayer. Adon olamim zachoes nishmois, shalchu li olamam. V'ana balarachamim zayzrim v'seitik anafecha li olamim v'tzuchen nishmasam v'yanucham mishkvasam v'shalom v'namar. Amen. For those who are well. Mi shevach avseinu Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov Moshe Amda v'Shlomo v'Barach Refes Achelim. Avu Shanim Bispalim Baboram B'Tzchak HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Alehem Lachmod Fosam Yishlach Lehem Fushleim Shmam B'Chol B'Sach Shach Yisrael Refuas HaNefesh V'Sukuf Hashavak Zmakriv V'Nama. Amen. Fushleim to all those that are well. Long life wishes to all those that are saying Kaddish. We wish you all well, and please God, we'll be back with you tomorrow. Okay. 9 o'clock sharp. Tonight we have a fascinating interview with a Shemitah farmer, a sabbatical farmer who doesn't work a whole year in order to keep the mitzvah of the sabbatical year. An extraordinary hero of Israel, well worth listening to, and that's online tonight. Looking forward to seeing you there. Take care. Have a great day. Keep safe. Keep well.